Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk. I am your host John, and today here on the channel we're going to be talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child. And we'll also be talking about its brand new 4K steelbook that just came out in the Nightmare on Elm Street 7-film collection. But before we get into that 4K Blu-ray review, I always like to give a quick film review, and today is no different. So if you don't want to know anything about the film and you're just here for that 4K Blu-ray review, you guys can skip ahead right now. So back in the summer of 1989, the last legs of the slasher were really riding high because A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5 was released. And this is a far cry from A Nightmare on Elm Street that was released in 1984. You know, we're 5 films in. We bring in Stephen Hopkins, who's a very competent director. We just talked about him not too long ago. He's the director of Judgment Night. He always has felt like a director for hire. And, you know, this very much is a franchise film and a 5th film in a slasher franchise at that. So Freddy Krueger is very different at this point. He's just cheesy as hell, banging out one-liners, which is fine. I don't mind when he does that in movies like Freddy's Dead, because that movie just pretty much commits to being a Looney Tunes comedy, whereas this movie, it feels like it's half in, half out on being a cheesy 80s slasher. It still wants to be taken seriously enough. In my opinion, the plot of this movie drags this thing down completely because, again, Freddy's back. Of course, we didn't kill him off in the last film. And, you know, Part 3, 4, and 5 are pretty much a connected story. You know, we start in Part 3 with the Dream Warriors. That story continues into Part 4. You know, we introduce Alice in Part 4, and she becomes our lead character in that film. She's our lead character in this film. They felt like there was still more to do with her character. I mean, Lisa Wilcox is fine as the lead actress in this movie, but I don't think she really is that great, I guess, in comparison to everybody else, because the acting in this movie, just like the last couple of films, is not the greatest. It's just more noticeable in a bad movie like this. This actually might be my least favorite Nightmare on Elm Street film, just because of the ridiculous Dream Child plot. Alice, you know, gets preggers in this movie. That's it. She's having Dan's child. And Freddy sees this as a golden opportunity to get back into the real world. Like he's been trying for every single film. He wants to come back. And this is his gateway. He's going to go through Alice's son, Jacob, which, you know, the child actor who plays Jacob that we see in some dream sequences, he's pretty good. And the dream sequences, just like A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, are the true standout of this movie because the production design is badass. I can really appreciate that. Obviously, the big one that is the most memorable, and if you're going to be watching the new 4K Blu-ray, we do finally get the uncut version of this movie. The motorcycle sequence when the one character, he's literally being turned into a monster. He's becoming one with the motorcycle. And in the original cut of the movie, they had to really chop that down. So even though it's really cool, we don't really get to fully experience it. You're gonna get to fully experience that now. And the dream sequences are fantastic, as they've been. That's clearly where everybody's putting all their effort into. And when you listen to like the making of this, that's what the director wanted to do. That's what everybody wanted to do, was concentrate on the dream sequences. That's really what was driving their creative energy. And you can clearly tell while watching the movie, because the plot of the movie, the story of the movie, it's very, very stupid and very convoluted. But those dream sequences, they do become more focused. They become very entertaining. And that's something I like about the Nightmare on Elm Street sequels for the most part, is that at least they're very entertaining. This one has some very entertaining moments, but I don't think those entertaining moments are enough for the film overall. And unfortunately, at this point, the slasher genre was kind of on its last legs in the late 1980s. We're going into that real low that Wes Craven would dig us out of in 1996 with Scream. But at this point, the slasher genre was just becoming a spoof of itself, and we would get there even more with Freddy's Dead in 1991. This movie, you know, if it just had fully committed to being a cheesy 1980s slasher and didn't try and get bogged down by that ridiculous plot and story, I think this movie would at least be better than what it actually is. At this point, for me, during my rewatch of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, I have to put this one at the bottom. Even under A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge, this movie, just for me, it didn't work this time around. I've never really been a big fan of Dream Child, but sometimes a new 4K Blu-ray can get you excited about the movie, and I was excited to see the uncut version, but the movie itself is still pretty damn bad, and it'll probably be like another 5 or 6 years before I put this 4K Blu-ray back in the player and give this one a rewatch. I'll probably forget that I don't like this movie, like the same thing that happens to me with A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. But anyway, let's talk about this 4K Blu-ray.
When it comes to terror, remember, Freddy knows best.
Alright, so we're going to come into this beautiful steelbook housing right here. We're going to pull out A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child. And, you know, just like all the other ones, we have our flat, matte, black background here with the original poster art on there, removing the framing, removing the blue background, removing the logo itself. You come on the back, there's a little bit of artwork as well. When you come inside, one 4K Blu-ray disc. I did my comparison to the Blu-ray that is packed in here, and all of the extras that are on that previously released Blu-ray will be on the 4K Blu-ray, except for the trailer. They removed the trailer, but other than, and some music videos, I believe, which makes sense because, you know, the rights to music and everything like that, so of course that didn't carry over to the 4K Blu-ray. But the making of, the behind the scenes, that's what they label it as, all of that carried over, and this time I believe it all just plays, unlike the previously released Blu-ray where you actually had to watch it in featurettes, which made no sense. In all of the 4K Blu-rays and all the Blu-rays, the extras pretty much carry over exactly as they appeared on the previously released Blu-rays, labeling and all, which is just kind of ridiculous and kind of lazy. Like, I was really expecting more extras, and just to have everything carry over. Now, again, I've heard that there are some new featurettes on New Nightmare, and we'll get there pretty soon, but so far, nothing new. And then, you know, Dream Child, not the most beloved in the franchise, but people do love this movie enough, and they've been asking for that uncut version, and you do get the uncut version on here, finally. And yes, that motorcycle sequence, which I think is the best part of this movie, when the one character is literally becoming one with the motorcycle on the highway, it's an awesome sequence. Now you get to see it all, finally, in all of its glory, because those practical effects are fantastic. And like I said in the film review, the effects in this movie and the dream sequences are all that really stands out in an overall, in my opinion, bad movie. But if you're going to be checking this out, I'd say check out that uncut version. At least it's something new, and I think for people who are fans of this movie, because I know there are fans of this movie, they'll definitely appreciate that. And just like all the other 4K Blu-rays in here, you get HDR10, you get a brand new Dolby Atmos track, while also having that original audio. So if you're somebody who wants to check this out with its original audio, you can do that. But the Dolby Atmos track, just like the previous two, is fantastic. It's like they did a phenomenal job upgrading the audio, Warner Brothers. I have no complaints about their audio upgrade. Really, honestly, it's very impressive. I didn't expect these Dolby Atmos tracks on parts 4 and 5 to be this well done. They didn't go the lazy route at all. I really did appreciate that. So I would recommend you guys check it out with the Dolby Atmos track, because it really is pretty damn stellar. And then, of course, when you do check it out with the visuals, with that HDR10, honestly, very, very impressive. Just like Part 4, on equal ground with that. I think I gave those visuals a 9.5. Part 5, same thing, about a 9.5 out of 10. Warner Brothers has been doing an incredible job with their visuals all year, and if you were just looking for a visual and audio upgrade for these Nightmare on Elm Street films, you're definitely going to be eating good in the neighborhood with these, because they are fantastic upgrades, and at least worth the money for the visual and audio upgrade. Now, I know I'm a stickler, and I want those new extras, those new featurettes, just because I feel like it's fun to look back on these movies and just get into people's mindset and what they were thinking about. And you can argue, well, they already sat down for interviews in the past, but it's been so long, and I would have really appreciated that. So that's the only thing that really bothers me, and that's kind of what keeps me from giving these higher grades. It's just because, yeah, I'm glad that we got that visual and audio upgrade. It's just I kind of expected a little bit more, because the steelbook box set did cost a lot of money, and I'm not somebody who necessarily goes out of their way for packaging like this, but I love the franchise, and I love revisiting these films, even though Part 5 I might not revisit that much more in the future, just because it's not a really good movie. But I do like finding out what went into making these movies, and how people feel about them now in 2025. I just thought it would have been cool. Feels a little bit like a missed opportunity, and that really kind of sucks. But overall, it's still a pretty damn big upgrade in the visual and audio department, so people are going to be really happy with that. If this does get a solo release and you're somebody who's a fan of Dream Child, I definitely think it'll be worth your time and money just to check it out with that brand new uncut version. You're getting a pretty big upgrade in the visual department and a pretty big upgrade in the audio department. I really can't sell short how bad the Blu-ray was for this movie. It's not a good Blu-ray at all. You'll notice immediately the big jump to the 4K Blu-ray format just in the opening credits with, you know, that beautiful blue on black background. It's so much brighter. It's so noticeable. You're definitely going to be very happy as long as you're a fan of the film. If you're not a fan of Dream Child, the movie itself doesn't get better just because there's an uncut version. Don't expect this movie to improve. It's still a pretty damn shitty movie in my opinion, but the 4K Blu-ray is very good. And if I was going to give this one a score of 1 to 10, I'll give this one a little bit of a higher grade than a Nightmare on Elm Street 4, just because you do get that uncut version in here. And I'll give this one a pretty damn solid 9 out of 10. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it here for me in another episode of Let's Talk. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video if you could. We also have channel memberships, so if you want to become a friend of the channel, a producer for the channel like John Doe Juggalo, Ben Rondo, and Harvey Scott, you can do that. Or you can even become a channel director like Frank from Frank's Media Reviews, Kevin Kruger, Uncle V, Nicholas Head, and of course, Stone. Yes, man! Or you can even bump it up to the channel bankroll members like Mr. Smelly Potato. But of course, if you have no money to throw my way, I don't mind at all. I just hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you did, get out in those streets, tell your friends about us, and then we'll be seeing you around.